your child out bringing or your own life. I mean, you ask yourself, he has the same problem. Today we have big time divorces in the ranks of those who are religious leaders. They lose their wives every here and there. They fight like everybody else. They go through the same experiences. They go through even worse experiences. And there is no shame in that. I mean, to give all that away to what I'm saying, what is it that you have to lose or fear or be shy of? You have such a rubbish, what do you call it, illogical thing to something which is logical. And you think that because of the beautifying presentation of that, even if it is illogical, it is beautiful, I'll go for it. I remember getting in touch with a brother of mine and, looking at my life. And he has done well, But he also admits all that he tells me he's done well with his Christian background. And I share most of my ideas with him. But sometimes he just makes me feel sick. He's crazy about his ideas. And I feel he's so, I don't know, he listens so much the same things, whether he pretends or whichever way, I don't know. And he clearly admits about the things he has to go through and do in order to stabilize himself, seeking greener pastures, in a country that he has, his newfound residence, his newfound state that he's in. The things he had to go through, you can't imagine a religious person had to do that, or somebody who believed in God had to go through that. And all that he had to go through is quite something that can be seen an abomination towards the faith. But he probably will say, Jesus, has died for us. So yeah, that silly excuse is being used. And he might take that upon himself and say, yeah, that is it. But I look at him and sometimes I don't know why he goes along that line, that he doesn't seem to realize that he's contradicting himself. I say the same to anybody else. But I use that as an analogy, an example for what I'm thinking. And he will claim and give all the credit to who? God or Jesus. And say, yes, God helped me through all that and blessed me and gave me the opportunity that I have. In all that he forgets his manly strength, the human ability that he had to put through to get there. He felt God gave me the strength. Fine. He gave you all of us. He gave everybody the natural strength, even the atheist. And if you are a Christian, even the Muslim, because the Muslim is not a Christian, he's a Muslim. So he's also outside of you. And strangely enough, I don't see many Christians seeing anybody outside their faith as a devil. They really point to somebody else as a devil, maybe, indirectly. They don't want to say that this person is a devil, but they want you to think that he's talking about somebody else. Because obviously, if you look at the book, then anything outside of Christianity should be considered as the devil or the son of the children of devils. So also it's more Islamic. But they don't admit to those things. I don't know why. Now, this is something that you don't see as awkward. It's sickening. You look carefully at a book that is pointing at you. You look at the religion or faith that is pointing at you. You don't think it's sickening? You think my suggestion is wrong? It's not logical, is there? Is there any logic in that you spend your time doing all sort of things which is negative to what you believe in or what you're supposed to believe in? You try to justify all that. You give credit to God for what you did. It's like you going out there and your God or your belief tells you that thou shalt not steal. And then you go out there and you steal as much as you want to steal. And then you come and then you give glory to God. You even present tithes, or let's say you give correction, or let's say you give a portion of the stolen items and make a sacrifice to your God and say, God, this is what I got. This is all that I earned. So you take this and bless me more. I mean, I think it's an insult. That is rather an insult. That character that we have in our way of worship is rather an insult. But rather you believing that God has not told you that thou shalt not steal. If he hasn't told you that thou shalt not steal, and you end up stealing, let's say hypothetically speaking, you end up stealing, taking somebody's thing, there is no guilt there. And even if you sacrifice something to your God, he hasn't accused you. You freely make the sacrifice to him. Because first, he hasn't accused you that the things you took are stolen goods. Or he hasn't told you that thou shalt not steal. So if you give him anything, he's not judging you. So he won't put himself into that situation of humiliating himself. Because if he judge you and he takes the items that you give him, the stolen good, he said, "I shall not steal." You stole. When you bring it to him, he accepts it. Then I don't know what God will try to say to me, or God is trying to point out. You said, "I shall not steal." I stole the things from people. I came and make a sacrifice to you. Some of the things you accept it. Why would you accept such a thing? Do you think God will accept such a thing? I don't think so. But if God is accepting, if you are believing, if you are in that group and you are believing that God is accepting it, God thinks it's okay. Through Jesus Christ, you go and steal where you know, so God has cleansed it. Jesus Christ's death has cleansed it. So right now it's not a stolen item. So you can make a sacrifice to God about it. It's that kind of format is what is being presented here. And I look at my own brother and I tell him that, hey, I admire you for your effort. You did it yourself. Okay? The strength, the natural giving strength or the natural giving abilities that God gave it to you, you have used it through whichever means possible. Because whichever way it is, if God was there with you and giving you a hand, despite giving you the strength, and he was, let's say, giving you a little more hand compared to the strength, because you overdid certain things in a tireless way because they were beyond your strength. That is why you struggled to do it. But if God has given you the strength level which is comparable to what it is that you were doing, you will not have struggled. You will not have struggled so much. If you have the ability to take a weight, you will take that weight at ease. Somebody who hasn't got that strength cannot take that weight. But you are supposed to let yourself believe that since you got it, that means you had the strength to get it. That's fine. That's entirely up to you. But you shouldn't complain about the pain and the hassle you've been through. But there's not much more to do with pain. This is a straightforward rules and regulations that we are talking about. If you go against it in any way, you have gone against it in the fullest sense. If he says that I shall not steal, it means I shall not take something that does not belong to you. If you've gone to take something that does not belong to you, there isn't any excuse or any extent of which you can turn it around and say, oh, but that is different from what the statement means or what the statement is saying. And so it is not the same. So God will, not look into that. You have done a great blunder. You have taken something that does not belong to you. Simple as that. It is stolen. It's a straightforward, direct, implemented law or law that you have accepted that has been implemented by your God. Or you have done. There are lots of things. These are just examples. I'm using examples. But anything where there's so many things one can do that offenses God. So we have to agree that, okay, it's either I think that God judges me and condemns me and gave me laws and rules and regulations, or God didn't give me anything like that. You are free in that sense to lead your life and still have the normal, common sense of approach to life and have self-control as it's necessary, because if you don't and you just misbehave and do all sort of silly things, somebody will put you right. And if you don't want that, you make your guide, and move the right thing, move in the right way. But this isn't the situation. People are just moving on to life, and they're doing it in such a way that it really is contradicting what they believe, and they seem to see it as being okay. If you're suggesting something that move them out of the gift trip or the guilt trip, or somehow putting them in a situation where they will not end up, condemning or